100 countries in the world are all losing their currencies. Everybody's basically, the Venezuelans not going to have a currency. The Zimbabwe don't have a currency. Any currency that collapses more than 20 to 30% against the US dollar eventually fails. So people throw that over and they go to the dollar. The euro is effectively pegged to the dollar. Most of the other currencies are pegged to the dollar. So you've really got two currency systems. You've got CNY, and even the Chinese peg their currency to the dollar, right? If you look at it. So you've got the first world currency system, then you've got the developed world currencies. They're all failing. So in El Salvador, they didn't have a currency. They used the US dollar, and then they're at the mercy of two things. One, the money changers are basically stealing 10 to 20% of their money when they move it back and forth. If I charge you 10% commission every time you move your money to a family member, I mean, how many times do you get to do that, right? So that's a problem. And the second problem is, now I'm storing my money in the US dollar. It used to lose 0.5% a month, and now it's losing 2% purchasing power a month because the Fed's printing money. So how do you crawl out of that abyss? And I think the president of El Salvador realized that what you want to do is back your currency or back your country with an asset which is appreciating in value. So Bitcoin's been appreciating 120% a year every year for a decade. The S&P is up 12% a year for a decade. So Bitcoin outperforms the S&P by a factor of 10. It outperforms gold, which is up by maybe 1 to 2% a decade. So it's outperforming gold by a factor of 50. Look, here's the big idea, that Bitcoin's not just an asset, right? It's the perfected apex property of the human race. If you have $1 billion and you want to give it to your grandchildren, are you going to buy land in California, a building in New York, $1 billion stack of gold? Are you going to buy $1 billion of Apple stock? Are you going to buy $1 billion worth of art, diamonds, commodities, corn futures, oil? What are you going to buy for $1 billion that'll be here 100 years from now? And if you think about it really hard, you conclude that every other asset class is more easily impaired, seized, confiscated, taxed, or regulated. And of course, some are unpractical. There's no way that 5 billion people in Africa and Asia are going to be walking around with Apple stock on their mobile phones. That's not happening. How do you pay for for anything with Apple stock on a Saturday afternoon in South Africa? Right? That doesn't work. And so, yeah, you could try to use a currency, but now I've been in business 20 years. I can't do business in Nigeria after 20 years, because if you want to do business in the fiat currency, you have to have your bank deal with your central bank, deal with their central bank, deal with their bank. Can't do it on the weekend, and you can't do it because of Foreign Corrupt Practices Act in Russia or Nigeria or whoever. And so how do you get 8 billion people trading with each other through 100 million corporations? You need a protocol. What is the protocol? Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Michael, an open monetary protocol to link 8 billion people and 100 million companies with one another in the 21st century.